Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs Podcast. My name is Dan. Today is May 25th, 2026. Happy Memorial Day to everybody. Andy's out on assignment. We're in season 7, episode number 29. Tonight's the sports edition. Sports edition. We've got lots to cover here. The first question is a trivia question. We're going to start off with a trivia question for tonight. This photo was taken on this day. But what year? Muhammad Ali, Sonny Liston, on this very date. I'll give you a hint. It was in the 60s. We'll come back to the trivia question at the end of the episode. Here's what we've got going on. A lot of things going on in sports. We'll start off with NHL. NHL, Eastern and the Western Conference finals are going on as we speak. Vegas with a 3-0 lead, 3-0 over Colorado. Many thought the Colorado Avalanche would beat the Wild and go on and potentially win the Stanley Cup. Well, they find themselves in a 3-0 hole. They'll be playing for their lives. Elimination tomorrow. The other matchup is tied 1 game apiece between the Montreal Canadiens a 1 game apiece there with Montreal Canadiens against, who are they playing? Leave a comment down below. I'm drawing a blank. NBA, the New York Knicks are up 3-0 in their conference finals. And then the other matchup with the Thunder and the Spurs are tied 2-2. 2 games apiece. They're heading to game 5 there in the NBA. The WNBA. Minnesota Lynx have played 6 games on the new young season. There are 4 wins and 2 losses there. Canterbury Park opened this weekend. So live racing has started there at Canterbury Park. Now, the next focus is going to be baseball, college baseball. D3 college baseball. There's 8 teams left in the nation. Bethany Lutheran College was the final Minnesota team. They lost by 1 run to advance to the World Series there. Bethany Lutheran out of Mankato. They did end up getting beat. McAllister was also in the postseason for the NCAA. They got beat then as well. But the big news with Bethany getting there, they beat Wisconsin Whitewater, who was the national runner-up 2 years ago. The national D3 runner-up 2 years ago was Whitewater. Last year, 2025, Whitewater was the national champions. And so this year, 2026, Bethany Lutheran knocked them off in arguably the biggest game of the career there at Bethany Lutheran. 8 teams left in D3, 8 teams left in the Elite 8 and D2. D1, today was the selection show. There's 64 teams have been added and involved there in the bracket to finalize in the next few upcoming weeks to make it to Omaha to play in the D1 College World Series. Currently 64 teams left. So baseball's winding down in college. Now tonight in amateur baseball, Waconia Lakers, big game tonight at 6:30 p.m. at Lions Field. They'll be taking on Delano Athletics. Delano was the Class B champions last year. 2025, Delano A's won the Class B title. This was their first year heading to the Crow River Valley League Conference, and they won the state last year. They're coming to Waconia tonight as the defending Class B champions on a late Memorial Day matchup. Now, Waconia Lakers won in 2024 the Class C state title in that big matchup there at Jordan at the Mini-Met in 2024. They since moved up to Class A. They made the state last year, won a couple of ball games. That game today will be the matchup of the two state champions in the past couple of years there. Delano last year in Class B, Waconia 2 years ago in Class C. A lot of people expected at that ball game tonight. Great weather for Memorial night. game at 6:30 first pitch. It sounds like it's going to be Max Otto starting for Delano against John Bezdicek. Now, John Bezdicek was the tournament MVP 2024 and led the team as the starting pitcher, ace pitcher for Waconia in that 2024 run. Was also very dominant last year, and this year looks to be the same. Lakers will start him in the game tonight. Max Otto, the Delano baseball player who played at Northern State University and made 38 starts there for Division II Northern State, took a year off of Minnesota baseball last year, played for the Sussex Cardinals in Wisconsin in amateur town ball. The very year Delano won the state, wasn't on the team, was with them prior to that, took a year off, played in Wisconsin. Now with that Class B state amateur title belt, he's like, I want to come back. I want to play for you guys. Delano's going to be tough this year. They won the state. They added a few more players, including Max Otto, a very good pitcher, back to the team this year, and they're going to be tough to contend with. So from what I've seen on social media, Max Otto is going to start tonight against John Bezdicek in a showdown game. This should be very, very good. Now, keep in mind that Max Otto, you've heard of him, came out of Delano High School, went on to Northern State to play quarterback for a couple of years there, moved to tight end there at Division II in football, played all 4 years Division II baseball as well. But he did make 38 starts on the mound for Northern State. He's going to be back, and this will be a great addition for Delano. They're going to be a tough team to beat. Now, tonight's game, 6:30 once again. We'll have social media stats and results after that game. But look for Delano if you want to follow them this season. Delano, they've got the game tonight against Waconia. They play Friday night this week at Young America. Another Class B versus Class B. That should be a great Crow River North matchup. Also, it's going to have a big impact there on the top 10 standings, I believe. After that, they play at home against Green Isle Irish on Sunday of next week. And then they go to Jordan to play in the mini-met against the Jordan Brewers, who's always a perennial favorite in Class B as well. Look for those games to all be those next 3 games, including tonight, 4 games for Delano, is going to be huge games there. And then I think we're going to see the next top 10 rankings come out from Minnesota State baseball. As we're getting into that time of year, Memorial Weekend is a huge deal as far as baseball. Amateur starting out, of course. Now, when we go back to local players to watch, like I said, most of the colleges are done unless your team is playing in the Final 8, which there isn't any in Minnesota left in D2 or D3. In D1, the South Dakota State Jackrabbits are in the NCAA. They won their conference. They're going to be playing the NCAA tournament in the Final 64 teams in the nation. Look for Luke Lusky playing for them. He's a well-playing player and very good. He's a junior there. He's a starter there for South Dakota State. And they've got some other players, including Jaron Vogt at Watertown Mayor. And there's a handful of players there from Minnesota, 5 or 6, there's even 7 players out of Minnesota playing on that South Dakota State Jackrabbit team. Once those teams all wrap up, they'll be fully loaded on the rosters for the fall baseball. Amateur baseball is going to be fully loaded then once those college guys are done. And for the most part, like I said, D2, D3 are done in the state of Minnesota already. And in fact, I think most of those teams here in the upper Midwest are done. So the amateur rosters are going to be loaded up now, as those first games in the month of May tend to be a lot of just veteran older guys on the team playing on those amateur town ball teams. But those are some teams to watch. The Minnesota Twins, Tristan Gray had a paternity time off, a couple games off there with him and his wife having a baby. Congrats to them. The Twins are 2 games under 500. Now, Many people say the consensus is to say don't look at the standings in March and April and May. The major league standings really aren't worth a lot of salt until Memorial Day. So now here we are. We're in Memorial Day. Twins are 2 games under 500, and in the hunt for the wild card. They're the wild card team right now if the postseason was to start today. So we've got the teams to look at are the teams leading the divisions now, the teams that are hot, the teams that are playing well. The teams that aren't are going to be now in a fight. Now it's Memorial Day. You've got the good early part of the season under your belt. You're 50 games in. And so now we're going to see who's going to take off from here. But as the Twins started out and people had questions about this team, this young team, and if they could gel or not, it turned out to be true. It turned out to be they're in the hunt. If they could play 500 ball this year, that'd be phenomenal. With their ace pitcher going out before spring training even starts, Lopez is out. The Twins have brought up a couple of rookies that are in the bullpen and in the starting rotation. And so this team is starting to gel. They've got a series against the White Sox at Southside Chicago, and then they go to Pittsburgh for a 3-game set against a very, I would call it a pretty average Pittsburgh team this year. So they should head into June right about 500, and let's see what they can do here as some of these hitters start to gel. And we've got some things here coming up. It should be fun to watch this team here as they continue on during the season. Now let's get back to this trivia question. On this day, May 25th, what year was this picture taken of Muhammad Ali, the infamous, this is one of the most familiar sports photographs of all time. Taken in the 60s. Here's your answer. 1965. 1965. So the big matchup with Muhammad Ali and Sonny Liston that was scheduled, I think, earlier on in the year back in 65. They had to postpone it, push it all the way out to May. Everyone was there to watch this. This was huge. In the first round, Ali knocks him out at 2:12 of round 1 at the Central Maine Civic Center to retain the heavyweight boxing title. Didn't even last. The first round wasn't even completed there on that foot. Iconic image of Muhammad Ali. That was 1965 for those of you who got it right. Congrats on that. Great shot. Great shot, by the way. My name is Dan. This is episode number 29 on season 7, sports edition here today. Enjoy your Memorial Day. Please leave your comments and questions at the bottom of this segment. See you next week.